Right, the lovely breeze blowing this afternoon, so I'm going to have a go at a bi-square with a biggish kite, I think. Right, the wind is from the southwest, so I'm going to lay the bi-square out with the point downwind. I guess it's something like 15-20 miles an hour, looking at that tree over there, and the horizontal axis at 90 degrees to the direction of the wind. That's the bi-square on the floor, ribbon fed. As you can see, there's a lot of rope in that aerial, so I better get busy. This is the point of the aerial. You can see the insulator at the top, because a bi-square is a full wavelength on each side of the diamond shaped aerial. You might also be able to see the two little bits of wire where I can actually link the top and it becomes a quad loop on 160, but I'm using it as a bi-square, two wavelengths on 80 meters at the moment. Okay, that's the bi-square pegged out, and in the usual way I'm going to connect the matching unit earthed to the feeder, as I've had some pretty hefty belts off these big aerials caused by the static which is generated by the wind blowing over the rope. Right, I'm running some pretty substantial flying line here, about 800 pound breaking strain, because that wind is very strong. I'm going to use a pretty big kite to get this thing in the air. I'm going to try and do it on one kite if I can. The flying line actually follows the line of the top of the aerial, because I want to maintain about 90 degrees at each of the corners. Pretty substantial stake in the ground, 2'6" driven in, about 150 foot of flying line. That's done one side, now I'll go and do the other. Same thing this side, the flying line in line with the right hand side of the aerial, about 150 feet out, and stake it with a rubber bungee. Right, let's come and take the stakes out. One on the corner, heading for one at the point, one the other side, and then go and sort the kite out, which is going to have to be, I think, a fairly large sled kite. I've clamped a couple of grips on the bottom of the aerial at the feed point to add a bit of weight to pull the aerial into shape when it's flying, we hope. So get the kite, connect it up and give it a bash. Right, there she is in the air, a big 81 square foot sled. It's a big beast. All I can do to hold onto it with one hand, so I'm going to let it go and see what happens. Wow. Right, I hope you can see that. The loop is in the air. The bottom is too low at the moment, mainly because the feeder is dragging it down, and I may well have to put a couple of smaller kites on the point to lift it. That's a bit better. Got the feed point up at about 50-60 feet now. I've obviously got to take this in 2 or 3 bits so that you can actually see the whole of the aerial. Oh dear, just after that clip, a terrific squall of wind came along, snapped the bridle on the kite, which fortunately still managed to hold on to the aerial, snapped a flying line at a weak point, which I didn't realise was there, and ripped the feeder off the aerial. So here we are a couple of weeks later, and I'm going to have another go. We've got much more reasonable lighter wind, and I've laid out the aerial again in the normal way, and on this occasion, on each of the 2 flying line attachments, I've put a smaller kite, in this case a 7-foot conian. There's one that side, and there's one laying in the grass over on that side that you may be able to see. And on the point of the aerial, I'm going to use this 15-foot sled Delta, which is a handmade kite by Carl near Hereford, It's a fairly light wind kite, but it's the bridle is set up to give me quite a steep angle on the top. Fairly short leader on it because I need all the 200 feet to get this aerial between the kite and the ground. Right, there she goes. I'm just holding this kite down so you can see it. They fly very easily, and away she goes. That's it. Let's turn around and see the area if we can. Yeah, and you can see that the other pieces have been pulled up into the air by the main one. So that's the big bi-square flying on 3 kites at the moment. May need a little bit of adjustment with the flying lines, but basically the aerial's in the air. Yep, that's not bad. It's moving around a little bit, but the feed point is a good 50 or 60 feet up in the air. The wind is a little bit sort of erratic, but the aerial's not taken a bad shape, and that big sled delta is holding that top section up fairly vertically. The bottom section is fairly vertical because this time I've got a lightweight tether to hold the bottom section down so that it doesn't get snapped off like it did last time. So although it's moving around quite a bit, it's orientated northeast southwest, so I think that's where we're going to get the strongest signals. So get it connected up and have a go. Right, okay, GB8 London Sugar, the Leicester Special Event Station. This is G4ROJ Portable on a bi-square aerial from the West Midlands. How are you receiving me? I say you're a good 5.9 plus 10 dB, Howard. A GB8 LS, G4ROJ Portable, over. Yes, GB8 LS, back to G4ROJ Portable. Yeah, well, you're peaking 5 or 5.9 plus 10, peaking up to 20. Yep, okay, 2E0 SPE. I say the kites are really moving. No, sorry, I was trying to record and I couldn't. Yeah, from that last clip there, what happened when the kite suddenly took a right dive to one side, the back spar had broken, and the kite just took a dive straight down onto the ground, and I've actually changed it for a sled kite in the middle, so that's rather more stable. Not quite so much lift, but it's working okay. Okay, running a bi-square aerial. This is G4ROJ Portable Station, Kidderminster, with a bi-square aerial flying on 3 kites. CQ180 and listening. Oh, hello Sharon, M3NAA. Ah, that's nice to hear you on. I gather you're probably at Steve's. What are you on? Are you on a loop, one of his magnetic loops, or are you on the G5RV? Sharon, go ahead. Okay, that's up there, lovely. It's about time for it to come down, so just have one last look at the aerial, and I shall start to pull it down. It's been very good, although the band has gone very lousy over the last half hour. Right, that's it, all packed up, and the aerial's wrapped up. It's only when I've got it down I found that one side of the aerial had broken away from the feeder. So I was transmitting on one half of the aerial for most of the time, I think. Well, that's it. It's a cold and blustery day, so I'm going to retire home with me busted kite spar and me wet feet, and I'm going to sit in front of the fire. So that's the end of the bi-square exercise. Hooray!